So stop me if you've heard this before. Chicago was an absolute war zone over the holiday weekend. Yet, once again, Chicago is a mess. More than 58 people were shot this weekend alone. It's gotten so out of control that even Morning Joe Scarborough laid into Brandon Johnson. Just listen to this.
Concern is you have leaders in Chicago that see this. As you say, we've been reading about this for years now. Every weekend, and maybe crime has gone down. But, you know, we had the mayor of Chicago on last week saying, oh, we don't need any more police officers. Police officers aren't the answer. No police officers. I think he said no 5 times.
I'm not sure what Joe is doing right here. Is he kind of pivoting away from the Democrat talking points? Because a little too late, Morning Joe. By the way, 8 people, maybe 8 or 9 people were actually killed in Chicago over the weekend. Again, a deadly Labor Day weekend. Morning Joe actually pitched a somewhat sensible solution to Chicago's crime epidemic, a suggestion so logical you'll truly have to hear it to believe it, that those words actually came out of Joe Scarborough's mouth. He's suggesting that Democrats actually try to work with President Trump. Labor Day miracle, or is this Joe Scarborough and Mika just trying to get their way back into Trump? Listen.
You know, I actually think that J.B. Pritzker should do something radical. I think he should pick up the phone, call the president, and say, you know and I know you don't have the constitutional authority to deploy the National Guard here and to police my. You can do that in D.C., you can't do that in Chicago. But let's partner up. These are the most dangerous parts of my state. We would love to figure out how to have a partnership that's constitutional, that respects the sort of balance of federalism between the federal government and the state government. And let's work together.
So this goes on. This goes on for another 30 seconds or so. And I pulled this out of it because I'm literally realizing what was going on right now. It's Morning Joe realizing his ratings have absolutely tanked, down by almost 50% since Trump won, because they were all over MSNBC saying Kamala Harris is going to win. Joe Biden's perfect. Oh, no, he's not so much. Kamala Harris is going to win. I'm telling you, this is how legacy media, they change. When they're getting smoked, they have to change it. They can't say I changed my mind because they look like clowns. He's going to slowly try and move the ship back up towards pro-Trump. This clown, this absolute clown. I know you, Scarborough. You're full of crap. You and Mika, full of crap. Seems like Morning Joe might have an epiphany. No, he's making it up. But the same cannot be said for the rest of the Democrats. Chicago aldermen are like local senators of a city, kind of, so to speak, went on CNN, and instead of calling for change, he offered a much more familiar response. Listen.
How do you respond to the argument that there were something like 50 plus shootings, 52 people, I should say, were shot in Chicago, 30 different shootings over the holiday weekend, 7 people killed? Aren't numbers like that still a problem that your city needs to address? What more can be done to address that?
Well, I think that what we need to do is we also had a mass shooting in a Catholic school. We also have had many instances where the administration has really escalated, exacerbated the violence in our country, in our cities. Trump is a dictator. I think we got to be very clear. He's trying to normalize violence.
Trump's fault. Trump's fault from a Chicago alderman. More from CNN, where anchors and guests acted like nothing really happened in Chicago this weekend. 50 people shot. There's nothing to see here. 9 people dead. Nothing to see here. Oh, it's been worse. Okay, yeah, one year there was 11 people killed. This one only 9 in a weekend. In fact, apparently Trump's response to this violence is all just some big part of a bigger political scheme, according to them. Listen.
You were right to say in your intro that he's focusing on Democratic states and Democratic cities, and you heard the secretary mention L.A. as well. They're using the language of hyperbole. They're using the language of fear to get an aim that they want, and that is to have a foothold in these Democratic cities. That's
a reporter Mason from Reuters right there. Hyperbole, no. 58 people shot, 8 people plus dead. That's not hyperbole. That's a war zone. In other news, Don Lemon is doing anything to stay busy these days. He tried to bait people into trashing Trump during a Man on the Street segment, but unfortunately for Donnie Lemon, he ran into someone with a pulse and a brain and a very educated opinion about our president and different voter demographics. In other words, Don Lemon was left speechless again and certainly didn't get the answer he was so desperately hoping for. Watch.
Women I've been talking to are really, really concerned, and they're emotional, and I think a lot of them have a right to be.
Politicians aren't perfect. They're imperfect like everybody else. Trump's rhetoric isn't for everybody. His style isn't for everybody. We got a lot of good things done under Trump.
Okay, then what they did, meaning a woman's right to choose, is removed under
That's
Trump.
not the only issue in this world, okay? A percentage of the female vote went up 2%. So are those women crazy? I mean, it's not 50%, but it's high 40s, and he got that. So ask those women, like, they voted for Trump. So clearly it wasn't just abortion was the issue. Now, I agree. Even in very Republican states, pro-choice amendments have done very, very well, okay? So it is a concern. I think most people are pro-choice, okay? But at the end of the day, like, there's a lot of people, there's other things. They're concerned about the broken border. They're concerned about crime. They're concerned about inflation. They're concerned about a lot of other things. So women are not one-dimensional. Men are not one-dimensional. And so if you're upset about abortion, great. If that's your prime issue, then go live in a state that's pro-choice.
See, Don Lemon, like deer in the headlights, had no response to that guy who wasn't exactly pro-Trump, just had a common sense view of Trump, probably not even a Trump supporter, and Don Lemon had nowhere to go. Rosie O'Donnell really kind of obliterated her own image. She came out last week and made an angry video after the tragic Minneapolis shooting. Remember this? And she called the killer at the time, quote, a MAGA person, the lunatic trans whatever. I'm not calling them trans anymore. What am I calling these people? Gender dysmorphia people. That lunatic who shot up that school. Well, immediately, Rosie got lit up on social media. Here's her response.
Hi, everybody. It's Rosie O'Donnell, star of the Flintstones. Listen, I have a cold sore. I know. Happens. Get run down, Anyway, I know a lot of you were very upset about the video I made before I went away for a few days. I didn't go online and haven't seen them till today. But you are right. I did not do my due diligence before I made that emotional statement. And I said things about the shooter that were incorrect. I assumed, like most shooters, they followed a standard MO and had standard, feelings of NRA-loving kind of gun people. Anyway, the truth is, I messed up, and when you mess up, you fess up. I'm sorry. This is my apology video, and I hope it's enough.
First of all, you weren't the star of Flintstones. What are you, like the voice for Kazoo or something? You stop with that. Stay in wherever the hell you are, Ireland, wherever the hell you are. But you got burned because you immediately assumed that you could always pin something on Republicans or people who are in favor of protecting our right to save ourselves against a tyrannical government with the Second Amendment. Call Trump Hitler, you call us Nazis, just stay there, you literal clown. I'm not sure what Jasmine Crockett's trying to accomplish with her latest fake accent, but it surely can't be anything positive. Listen to America's either dumbest or second dumbest congresswoman debut a ridiculous accent that, I don't know, maybe it'll stick around till she's run out of office.
Baby, because these people, they are crazy, because they always talk about how Christian they is. Yeah, I don't know how many of them on that side are getting divorced because they getting caught up sleeping with their co-workers, staffers, interns, all the things. Yeah, you ain't got to believe me. Just go Google. You'll find some of it. I'm telling you, and the wives is being messy and petty. They putting it in the divorce. I'm like, ooh, that's got to be true, because your lawyer would know that they going to lose it if they...
I'm not sure what that was. Here's the point. Jasmine Crockett is an intelligent woman. You may not think so. She doesn't sound, certainly when she pulls out these fake accents, she doesn't sound intelligent. She's an intelligent woman. She knows exactly what she's doing right here. She's catering and pandering to the people who she wants to vote for him, and she thinks the best way to do is sound like them and then also trash Trump. That's really all she's got. She doesn't have a policy she couldn't policy her way out of a wet paper bag. All right, folks, we'll be back 2.5 minutes.